Okay, we have our spreadsheet, and when we go to print, we have in the Page Layout tab in the Tools ribbon, we have a group that says Sheet Options, options about how we are going to view what is the grid of the spreadsheet. By default, we see that, both the grid lines and the headers, it tells us that we can see them, but they will not be printed. These are Excel's default settings. What does this mean? It means that we now in this list we're seeing the grid lines. We see that between this cell and the next, there are a number of divisions. We see the grid. It might sometimes be the case that I do not want to see it, to see what effect it has. So by removing this checkbox, simply by deselecting the checkbox, we see that it looks far cleaner without the printing lines. Okay, what we're used to in fact is that we can see the grid line, but when we go to print in the page preview, we see that here the grid lines are not visible. Okay, this might be the case. Well, this is the default setting, but it might be the case that we want to print the grid lines too, to have the grid lines on the printout. In this case, what I have to do is, in page design, tell us that I also want to print them. When we check this box, when we go to File in the page preview, we see that indeed Excel in the page preview is telling us that when we print, it is going to show the separation between the different cells. Well, something similar happens with the headers of the rows and columns. The headers of the rows and columns are the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, etc., until the end of the alphabet. All the headers that we have in the columns or the rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we see that here in the printout, they are not shown. By default, we are not going to see the headers of the rows and columns. Well, this is something that we defined by default in page design. It says that they will not be printed out, even though we see them in the spreadsheet. When we work with the spreadsheet, that we could even remove them, as is the case now, they have disappeared. Well, by default we will always see them, but we can also print them. This is perhaps not overly common, but it might be useful for us to see in the printout that in column A we have year, in column B income, etc., etc. So by checking this box, we see that in the printout, the headers of the columns and rows are going to be printed perfectly in the printer, exactly as you see them in the spreadsheet.